Let's take a look at the garage. I'll give you a tour and see what's going on in here. Haven't really shown you the garage since we started everything, but now is probably as good time as any to do it. The long and short of it is, it never started out this way, okay? This was pretty much a garage like everybody else's. 2 cars fit in here, and a bunch of lawn tools, lawn mowers, garbage cans, deck furniture, everything else. It was a giant disaster. And about 10 or 11 years ago, I renovated it into sort of a man cave. And then I did another sort of renovation 2.0 last spring and summer that took about 3 or 4 months to do, that kind of just updated everything in it and got it up to 2016 standards, so to speak. I think what I'll do is, let me set the camera down. I think what I'll do is I'll roll some, let me just this. I'll roll some pictures of the garage and what it looked like when I started. I took a whole bunch of pictures before I started this process like 10 or 11 years ago. And that's when I started to put the floor in and put cabinets in and all that stuff. So I kind of documented my process because I had a couple other buddies who were thinking about doing the same thing. So what I might do is I'll roll those photos in and might even just narrate over the top of them to tell you what I was doing, to give you some background on where everything started here. And then you'll have some sort of baseline idea from where we were then to where we are now. So here we go, the first renovation back in 2005. We'll call this 1.0. And as you can see, we pretty much started from a shithole. This looked like pretty much everybody else's garage, and it was a nightmare. I always thought those tools are going to fall down and hit my car. Just stuff everywhere. We had to relocate so much stuff, and it took a couple of weeks just to clean the garage out before we could actually start any meaningful work. More cleanup here, just getting stuff down from the walls. Now, as you see here in the next photo, here's where the lights start going in, and this is the first thing I really got done. I wanted the electrician to get in here and do the lights, get those done. These are 8-foot pairs of high output fluorescents, and I've got like 6, I think I got 8 pairs on the ceiling and 1 each along each side of the baseboard. And when I told the electrician what I was trying to do here, he's like, well, never been asked to do this before. I hope you know what you want. And I said, well, I do. I want it to be as bright in here as a surgical room. And definitely it is. No shadows anywhere. You can work on the side of the car and not have any problems whatsoever. Now this stuff here is, I put this down in the concrete. This is called Skit-Not. It's kind of the stuff that tennis courts are paved with. It's got some grit to it. And I just put it in places where tile wasn't going down and rugs weren't going down, just to spruce things up a bit. More work here on the walls. Starting to do some painting. Did some spackling, sanding before I started to do some painting here. Cabinets and tool chests starting to arrive. For a while I had stuff arriving pretty much every day. And on the single side of the garage, this was sort of my production area for all of the cabinets. I would go down to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy the cabinets, kind of 3 or 4 at a time, and then assembly line here, I'd just start putting them together, and after a while I could almost put these things together by blindfolded. And I would paint them. I'd paint the fronts, let a coat dry overnight, paint them again the next night. They needed 2 or 3 coats, but it was a lot of work to get them painted. Probably took an extra 2 or 3 weeks to do them all and get them painted red, the fronts of the cabinets. But they turned out really well, and I'm glad I did it. There you can see what the cabinets look like installed. Really wish I had that lower left cabinet with the 3 pullouts, but that one fell apart and I had to throw it away. And things are getting closer to getting done here. Again, you can see the baseboard fluorescent lights there. Some of the stuff going on the walls and the TV in the top right there. There's my 356 blueprints hanging on the walls. I've since taken those down. And looking out towards the driveway, things are pretty much complete here. And again, looking back into the garage, this is pretty much the end of Renovation 1.0. It came a long way. I was really proud of myself. Now 2.0, this was last spring, last summer.
just kind of needed an update. As you can see here, starting to pull stuff down off the walls again. The walls were just terrible. They're not aligned right. They're in places the spackling was coming down, the tape was coming down. I had to redo all that stuff, retape them, resand them, everything. It was just a horrible mess. That took weeks to do, to get the walls refinished and repainted before I could really do anything else. Now you can see here I'm dropping the split loom down to make the runs for the speakers, the Polk speakers. There's one of them there. You can see the split loom running across the top of the walls near the ceiling. I think that one's the front right. And that hit all the speaker wire and along with some other cables, some HDMI cables and stuff, which would terminate here where the home theater stuff was, which is where the old picture tube TV was, which was nice because that's where my cable TV connection terminated. The TV going in here, got it finally mounted up. Starting to test things out here just to make sure things are okay before I start putting things back on the walls and stuff like that. The HVAC going in. Move the old TV stand up above there on a stud where I could put the subwoofer. This is before the TV went back in, but you can see the TV mount and the studs there. Now things are coming together. Stuff going back on the walls. This is the fun part, where things are coming together and you're really putting the finishing touches on it. And the rugs are going down. And at this point, it's pretty much complete. So there's 2.0 done last spring, last summer, and that's pretty much where things stand now.
I spend a lot of my time out here. There's no question about it. Pretty much everything I need out here is out here, except for a lift. Don't have a lift. Don't plan on getting one. I don't have room for one. I can't afford one. I probably wouldn't use it enough anyways to get my money out of it. But it's nice out here. It's like an extra room in the house. So let me just give you a quick tour. We'll just start at one wall and go to the other. Actually, let's start with, here's my tool cabinets. I have no idea what you have in your tool cabinets. And mine is sort of just a revolving door of different things as I acquire them. This is where I keep all my nuts and bolts and stuff like this. I'm kind of a pack rat, so I don't throw any of this stuff out as I order things and disassemble things. I just keep the nuts and bolts and I put them in here. You just never know when you're going to need something and what kind of size you're going to need it in. So whether it's nails or screws or anything else, drywall screws, I got the room to store them, so I store them. This is kind of interesting. I didn't realize these were here. These are my old Porsche to Oxford decal window stickers. They go on the inside of the window. We gave these out. We gave one of these out every year in a different color for the event. So there's probably 5 or 6 different colors in here, years. And so people would collect them and put them on their windows. So, hey, if you want one of those, let me know. So we got all kinds of doodads in here, little audio connectors and Dremel bits and stuff like that. More stuff here, like little cleaning tools that I use, and these little styrofoam scrubby dubbies. These are good. These are good tools to get inside the little, I'll show you the little rubber insides here on the 930. I use those a lot inside there. These are good little cleaning tools. I think you can get these from Griots or anywhere else. Some more. As you can see here, we've got my Dr. Color chip stuff. And sort of just collected this over the years. You can see my Guards Red. Guards Red touch-up paint. Lots of Guards Red, actually. These little, in fact, I got a whole bunch of these. These are itty bitty bitty sort of brushes that I use to fix stone chips. So as you can see here, they've got just little teeny brushes on the end of them, and they're really nice because they're small enough to get chips, but not large enough to really mess up what you're doing. Let's see here, more Guards Red. I've got Phoenix Yellow in here somewhere. Here we go. This is Phoenix Yellow, my touch-up paint for the M3. And I've also got a Phoenix Yellow sort of touch-up pen. So I got a couple small places I need to fix on the M3 when I get the car back. It was supposed to come back last Thursday from the paint and chip place to fix those places I showed you, but now it's middle of next week and I don't have the car back yet. There's my Dremel stuff. Can't go without enough zip ties, tire iron, stud finder. I don't know what's in some of these. Yeah. This is kind of nice. This is a razor blade on a handle that I like to use. You can either use regular razor blades or you can use a plastic blade. I use it to clean the windshield. Let's see, there's a ODB 2 reader. Let's see what's in here. Measuring tool, digital calipers. There's my tuning tech stuff, torque wrench. And here's there's some Porsche stuff in here. These are speaker grills off the 930. Those are the original mirrors off the Cayman, the original side scoops. Those are the parts that I replaced and I had painted red inside. You saw those. There's some Porsche caps. I think there might be the original radio in here. Yeah. That's the original radio out of the 930. So this is sort of just a hodgepodge collection bin of stuff. And I don't know if there's any of these. Up here, just various tools and things. So that's what I keep stored in that cabinet. Since we're on tools, here's where all my just regular wrenches and screwdrivers, sockets, metric, standard, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Bungees. You can never have enough bungees. So from a tool perspective, that's pretty much what I've got in here. And I've had that for a while. I've had these cabinets since the beginning, I think. Let me shut the garage door here so we can get a better look at what's going on. So what I did with version sort of 1.0 of the renovation of the garage was I pretty much got the standard stuff in here. I got the Kiwi tile down. This tile in the garage, this is not race deck. Basically, when I ordered this stuff, race deck was more expensive than this. This was called Kiwi tile. Kind of the same, same church, different pew sort of thing. The reason I went with the Kiwi tile was it was a bit less expensive. And second, most of the race deck that was for sale at the time I did this was completely flat and it wasn't porous. As you can see here, all this tile has holes in it. So if I get anything wet on the floor, it sinks down to the bottom of the concrete of the driveway. Then if I need to, I can always pull this stuff up and squirt it out. But I didn't want to have any sort of tile in here that would be slippery or anything like that where people could fall. And the other nice thing about having this Kiwi tile with the perforations of the holes in it is it seems to stay a bit warmer in the winter. It's not really cold to sit on in the winter when you're working out here. So it doesn't seem to radiate the cold from the asphalt as much. So that's nice. So I put that in. I think I probably paid $1,200 or $1,300 way back when I bought the tile, and I measured it all out and they sent it to me, and it pretty much worked out perfect. So you can see I got a gray border around the whole outside of the tile. So this was probably one of the best investments I ever made. It just cleans up the garage really nice. It's, you know, it's not cold in the winter and it's not hot in the summer, so you can pretty much work on it. It's a little bit hard to sit on. I got a little pad I sit on sometimes when I'm working out here, but other than that, it just makes working out here a lot more pleasurable. Where should we go next? Let's just start on one wall and work our way around. These are just some of the pieces of artwork I got. I've had a lot of this for a while. Now, some of this on sort of version 2.0 of the Reno. I put a lot of this artwork back up on version 2.0. A lot of it I had in poster tubes and stuff like that, and I didn't have any place to put it, or I didn't get around to it. So some of the stuff I took down on the Reno last year, I never put back up. And then a lot of the other stuff I had sitting around, I finally got framed and put them up. So that's what you're looking at here, is a lot of the new stuff that had been sort of just sitting on over the last few years, wanting to put it up on the wall and just never had time. So I got all that stuff out of picture tubes. And I still have, God, I must have 50 or 100 other Porsche posters and racing posters and stuff like that that are just rolled up in tubes that I don't have room for. And as much as you see out here, I got stuff in the house that's framed up too. So you can see here we got Mr. James Dean. I've had that forever. I think that was the first thing I put up on the wall when I originally did the renovation. And he kind of came in a big square, cardboard square, so I had to cut him out with my Dremel to make them look a little bit better. As you can see up there, there's a poster from Tweaks Fun Fest. Tweaks is, they no longer sell Porsche parts. And we've got my Porsche sign, BMW sign, and a few other bits and baubles and things. These are, I printed these out, these three, and I printed those off myself and framed those. I thought they were kind of nice looking. So you can see I got a couple ladies in the night on the wall. I think I printed those out as well. Let's go around here. We've got this, this display case is not a Porsche display case. One of my car buddies gave this to me, and it was like white and just a, just a generic case. So I refinished it, resanded it down, painted it black, and then ordered some Porsche crest to put on it, and then the Porsche emblems up here in the front. These are actual Porsche letters off of the rear of a Panamera, I think. But in any case, that turned out pretty well. Lighted sign, James Dean. There's one of the awards from Oxford. I got a whole bunch of awards I used to have displayed up here before I put my TV up here that I took down that I haven't had a chance to put back up. Of course, we got my Sinclair Dino gas clock, a few other items here, more posters. And then along this wall, let's see, had that poster for a long time. Ren Sport on this wall. Here's a couple frame prints that I haven't seen before. I bought them and haven't seen any other instances of them show up since. Here's an old ad for a 914. And here's one of the more, I guess, famous or infamous ads. I think that is that's a 911 turbo. I thought it might be a 964 turbo, but it's not. And up here on this top end here, those are factory Porsche posters of a 918 and a GT3 RS 4.0. So that's just the art stuff. There's some banners and stuff up here and on top, a couple more. So let's just start talking about the bits and bobs. The tires up here, those are original tires from the 930. Those have the Fuchs on them. Those tires are shot, and I need to get the Fuchs refinished. So that's been sort of a project that I've wanted to do, but just never gotten done. So by the time I get those Fuchs refinished and I put a new set of tires on it, that's probably gonna be $2,000-3,000 project. So that's kind of why I've been dragging my feet on it. But I would have really liked to get the original rims back on the car. The BBS Le Mans wheels that are on here, these are actually wheels that were on here when I bought the car. So the guy put these on not long after he bought it and left them on. So they're really great. They're nice rims. And I would still keep them. I think I'd like to go back to a little bit more stock looking on the outside. Let's see, what else? Okay, let's talk about sort of the origination of my like TV, home theater, audiovisual stuff out here and kind of where it progressed. Originally, up here where my home theater stuff is, I had like a 20-inch TV up here on a big TV stand, you know, like at one of those monitor TVs, picture tube TVs, and that was it out here. That was pretty much the extent of the fun. So when I did the reno last year, I pulled that TV down, took it to Best Buy where you could recycle it for free with them, and then I completely redid everything from scratch. Okay, so I started with the home theater stuff up there, and so that's a home theater unit. It's got internet, Wi-Fi, Pandora, anything you could possibly imagine. You can pretty much get out here. It's connected to the net. It's connected to the TV Wi-Fi. It pretty much does everything you could possibly want. So now the cable box is up there, the home theater is up there. And then in this spot where I used to have a shelf here with a bunch of my car show awards and stuff like that, pulled all that stuff down and put the 4K TV in. And then to connect all this stuff up, I don't know if you can, up here, I ran like split loom up here, like a little conduit, and then ran all the speaker cable and wires to new Polk speakers. So I've got Polk speakers up there. I got one over here, and you can see up there, there's another one. There's another one up there by the tires. And then for the woofer, I took the TV stand that I originally had where the home theater unit is, and I rebolted it way up here because I really didn't have a good spot to put the woofer. I didn't want to put it on the ground down here, so I was running out of floor space. So I moved it up there, found a good stud, and then layered the bottom of that TV stand with a whole bunch of felt, like 10 layers of felt, so the thing wouldn't rattle up there. And then I stuck the woofer up there. So you can see I got the split loom conduit pretty much running all the way around the top of the garage to the speakers, and it terminates over there in the right rear speaker. But I took it all the way around this way to get to that woofer. Obviously, it all terminates in the back of the home theater unit where it all gets wired in. And of course the front two speakers, and then the center channel speaker down here. So it really turned out great. It was a lot of work to get done that way, to do it right. One little problem I ran into was dropping the center channel speaker wire down. Right where I wanted to drop it, there was a stud there and it was causing problems, so I had to split these two cabinets up just a hair in order to drop it straight down through and behind, to terminate behind the TV. But other than that, it worked out great. The TV is great out here. When you got the home theater going and the speakers and everything, the radio, you can probably hear the radio right now, turned down low, but I mean, it's great and it's loud. I mean, you can definitely wake up the dead out here. So that was a big change, a big improvement. How do you buy all that crap? It's not cheap, I mean, it was probably, I probably had to spend $5,000 or $6,000 out here last spring in order to do this stuff. But the way I justified it was, hey, I'm out here so much anyways. you know, it's just going to make sense to be out here and do it right and do it once. That's sort of my philosophy. You don't want to do things twice. You don't want to do it over. You don't want to go back and wish you had done something just a little bit better and spent, you know, an extra 10 or 20% when you could have done it right at the very beginning. So that's sort of the philosophy there. So that all got done. And just, you know, a few small things that I've done. You know, I got a sort of a power outlet here. It's bolted into the wall. That's got all some of the stuff behind here plugged in, so it's, you know, hot and ready whenever I need to go. I always got plugs that are available. I've got like an 8 or 10 port USB power adapter here that can plug all kinds of stuff in. Here's my Harmony One rechargeable remote that powers everything up, so that's great. So there's pretty much everything you could possibly want in here. And then the other big thing, the other sort of critical piece to this whole thing was I had to get HVAC out here. It was becoming so bad that you couldn't be out here in the summertime because it was so freaking hot. It would be like, you know, it'd be 85, 90 degrees outside, and it'd be 95 to 105 inside. And then in the winter, it'll be so cold. I mean, I tried to bring in some like space heaters and stuff. It's just, no, it wasn't working. So I had to get HVAC out here. That was pretty much something that was non-negotiable. So as you can see underneath the subwoofer, there's one of those Mitsubishi units. That's a dual unit, so it does heat and AC. So the compressor unit, the fan and stuff, you know, the big thing you sit on the outside of your house, it's on the outside of the wall. So that has been a huge bonus. So pretty much I can be out here now, day or night, any part of the season, and it's perfectly acceptable, climate controlled, 72 degrees, just like I like it. And if it's hot out here, I turn it on like 20 or 30 minutes before I want to come out here to cool it down. It's perfect. Same in the winter time. If it's a little cold out here, just put the heat on in 20 minutes. It's nice and toasty out here. And that also makes it nice when you're like doing stuff like wax and stuff. You know, you want the room temperature to be 72, 75 degrees when you're putting on wax. You don't want wax to be too hot or too cold. If it's too cold, it's too hard to get off. If it's too hot, it smears around. You don't want it to be outside because then it bakes in the sun. So you're solving all kinds of problems. So, and that was probably another $4,000 to do that. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you know, yeah, I spent that amount of money, but you know, you amortize it out over 10 or 15 years, and it's really not that much. So, you know, it's a one-time cost, and it's definitely worth it. So that's pretty much the garage as it stands now. You know, there's some bottled things here that I keep all my clean stuff in. Some of this stuff's not even griots in here anymore. I just use the bottles to refill the stuff up. But I like the shelves, and the bottles are pretty good, so I still use those. I think that's pretty much about it. Oh, I do have got my refrigerator down there. That's been there forever. So you got to have refreshments out here. Got to be hydrated. Can't work out in a garage unless you're hydrated. That's pretty much the lay of the land out here. If you have any questions on, hey, you know, I'm thinking about doing this to my garage. Is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? You know me. If it could be fucked up, I probably had to fuck it up 3 or 4 times before I got it right. So I've made every mistake in the book out here when I did this stuff. Several times over before I got it right. So any questions or comments about what you're thinking of doing, if it's a good idea or not, let me know. Put them in the comments section. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. And if you got a garage that you're working on, put them in the comments. You know, send me an email, chris@chrisworld.tv, and I like to see it. You know, give me some ideas on what you guys have done. This certainly is not the only way you can go about renovating a garage. This is just my taste, the way I do it. A lot of people are more mechanically oriented. They have more mechanical stuff out here to get work done underneath the hood. That's not really my thing. I like posters. I like things that look nice. That's just sort of an extension of my personality. So this is the direction I went. and it's just a reflection of my personality, and that is it. So there you go. If you like this video, like it. If you didn't like it, don't like it. And subscribe today if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode.